Hello, this is Tanner with Bulldog Rooter. I'm out here on job number 6171626, and I do apologize, I'm not the one moving it. It's just kind of moving a little bit. Anyway, this is an upload video. Got called out here for a mainline backup. We're not sure of the history. When I showed up, I pulled up the permit. There was actually two of them. One of them from 1963 said that it was concrete. I believe that was for a stub out coming from the city main. And then there was another one that said it was concrete to BF. Now, I personally had heard of BF before. I mistakenly believed it stood for Bell Flange, which is both a term you can use for cast iron and for PVC. I thought it was a bit weird being PVC in the 1960s. I found out later from cabling this, doing some research and talking to my supervisor, that BF actually stands for, have it written down, bituminous fiber, which is the scientific way to say Orangeburg. That was one of the first times I've ever seen it notated that way on a sewer permit. Usually it's notated as OG, and that's where that confusion led from. Anyway, so it looks like we are clear in the concrete section, but we have had quite a bit of root intrusions in the Orangeburg section. Had to run the straight auger to get it open so I could see what I was dealing with. I actually thought it was collapsed at first due to just the amount of roots that were in there. So we went ahead and sent a cutter just to test out. Had quite a difficult time, but once we were able to get it cracked open, cut a bit, had to send quite a few more bits, some to be able to grab onto what was left and just pull it on back. But we got this cut as clear as possible. I would not recommend jetting. That is likely to destroy this Orangeburg section. However, I would recommend either digging up this section of Orangeburg or possibly look into lining it to prevent these root intrusions or collapse in the future. That being said, we're going to start pulling back. This line is approximately 80 feet, I believe. The counter on this camera reset. I know you guys can't see it, but I can. And we're going to start pulling out of the city. Now, we do have a skidder on this, so my camera is about halfway up in the pipe, so it's very difficult to see the bottom. However, all the root intrusions are up at the top. Here we are in the 4-inch concrete. Looks like there's a single root right there, coming down. A couple cobwebs. We're about 20 feet back now. Looks like we have a bit of root intrusion right here at the 22-foot mark back from the city. However, given the current equipment, I'm pretty sure I can't cut that any more flush. So here, about 29 feet back from the city, we switch into Orangeburg, which, if you're unfamiliar with Orangeburg, it is essentially reinforced cardboard. That cardboard has been reinforced with tar paper. It was banned in the 1970s, and we've been removing it ever since, just due to a high failure rate. Keep pulling back. So that was about 29 feet. Bit of a intrusion there still. Again, these do look more severe just due to the fact I have a skidder on them. So what you're seeing is actually about the center of the pipe and up. This is the 30-foot mark of the pipe. It's also 45 feet back, so that puts us at about 75 foot for the entire length. This was the worst of it. At one point I had this was where I believed it was collapsed. However, it just turned out to be this large root intrusion. We cabled this out as much as we could. This was fighting my machine pretty hard. I got it cut to the point where it was acting like a flap, and my cutters just could not make any more traction with it. Ended up having to send a retrieval, the largest retrieval bit I had that could fit, and hook into it and yank as much as possible. But yeah, I would recommend keeping an eye on that section in particular. And the tenant is the one who booked us. I would like if estimates are requested to go ahead and repair this section, I would like to have the landlord, I would like to speak to the landlord about it. Right, so there's a tie-in right there. Looks like I'm going forward a little bit just to figure out where that Orangeburg section ends. Ooh, difficult to tell. Do the amount of gunk that's all sitting on the top. But that is definitely cast iron there. It's got our 60-foot section, so it's likely a cast iron Y and then ties into Orangeburg. That's where I would go ahead and rebuild from. Because the cast iron is going to be underneath the foundation. I'd like to get it right at the stub out and then build back from there. Anyway, let's get this cleaned off real quick. That's better. This is where the work was performed. We'll get this little area all cleaned up. But anyway, thank you for choosing Bulldog Rooter.